Is the church appropriating a culture of cycling, shame, and suffering? That was my question. This is our discussion today. Hello everyone, welcome to Future Husband Diaries. My name is my husband. It's been a while, years. The reason is I did not have any voice. I went to this function, I was busy screaming my lungs out, got flu, had no voice, everything was just attacking me. But I'm glad to be back. Even though I'm not 100% back yet, but I'm glad that my voice is a little bit back and, I can speak. It makes you analyze and you look at the little bits or the little things in life that you take for granted, for especially my voice. I do a lot of things using my voice. My work is my voice. The podcast that I do is my voice. So when I had no voice, working and doing anything was really hard. So I'm really, really glad to be back. I'm really thank God that my voice is back, because if it had been gone forever, I wonder what my life would have been like. So if you're a new subscriber, welcome to the community, and I hope that you enjoy all the videos that we've been putting out, and you go back and rewatch all the other episodes that are there. And if you are coming back, welcome, and I hope that you enjoy the content that we've been making, and that we'll grow, all of us, spiritually, emotionally, whatever. I do not know. But then at the same time, we ask ourselves, we hold ourselves to a greater standard. We ask ourselves questions and we answer those questions, and therefore we go about with our lives, living our life in a way that will make people, when they see us, they do not look down on Christ, but make sure that they understand that if these people can be able to live like this, therefore Christ is alive by the way that we've been living. So, hope that you enjoy. Welcome. Just a few updates. I am starting a 30-day devotional journey. And as I will be going through, I'll post it out for anyone who really would like to join me. If you really like the ebook, if you really like I'll really send you the information. You can just type in the comment section, or you can inbox me and tell me your email address. I'll send you the information. And then we can all grow spiritually together. The reason is, I am at a point in my life, I feel like I'm at a crossroad in my life. I feel like I'm supposed to be jumping to the next stage in my life. But then there are so many alternatives that I feel that I could take this one, And I feel it's a little bit empty in that way. I do not know which way to go. I do not know which way God is calling me to go to. So I feel like this 30-day journey, this 30-day devotional journey will help me to grow, and I will hear the word of God, and I will hear God speaking to me. And hopefully after this 30 days, I'll know exactly where I'm supposed to go and which journey to take. That's all. So if you really want to join me, because you're taking on your own personal journey, you can, just inbox me, just holler at me, and I'll give you the information, and we can all grow together. So our topic today is stemming from the way that the internet, or the way that people have been rising up after, the stills talking about their life. It made me to reevaluate, the Christian setup. It made me to reevaluate the church setup that I have. It made me reevaluate the advice that I've been given by people I hold dearly in my community, the advice that I give, and when it comes to love, when it comes to falling in love, when it comes to marriage, it made me start to reevaluate. And then this question came to me: is the church are we really building a culture that is making women settle, suffer, feel shame in the closet, and then they come up to church and they all look good? As long as everything else in their life is working out, they feel like God is calling them to be in that sector. We feel like if God doesn't want me to be in this relationship. Therefore, you would not have called me to be in the certain situation that I'm in. Therefore, it made me really worried. Like, from what I know, the God that I worship, God doesn't want his people to suffer, right? And he even gave us, when it comes to cheating, please move away from that. God doesn't want a culture whereby women are suffering, and then we're saying they're called to that suffering, where women feel shamed, and then God is saying they are called to be like that. They're supposed to be going through that. It made me really, really worried. And then I had to go through the Bible. And the only person I know who went through a whole lot of suffering and shame, it was for a certain purpose. When Hosea was going through all of that, he had to take a prostitute as a wife and all of those things, right? They had a purpose. God was making a statement through that. But not all of us are called to make that statement. Not all of us are made in such a way that we have to suffer throughout all of this. That is not the God that I worship. That is not the God that That is not the God that I worship. Therefore, God would not feel good about people suffering. It made me wonder, like, this marriage thing, what is really going on? Are we really looking at it in the right way, or are we looking at it in another different way? It made me really have those questions. And, I wanted to go into deep into it, like, how do we start this whole journey, and what makes us to feel we are called to be in the suffering together with Christ. I'm enduring in my marriage. God is with me. God is calling me to suffer and feel all this shame. I feel like we need to take a step back, reevaluate what we think and what other advice people are giving us, and look at exactly what is God saying in all of this. Because number one, when you're going through the Bible, there are things that are really, we call them holy, and marriage is one of those things that God considered to be holy. Marriage is holy. Therefore marriage is holy, it's supposed to be. There are some things that you are not supposed to endure just because we are saying, because I have this ring, therefore I'm called to be in this journey of suffering. I do not know how to call it. Is there a journey of suffering or what? I do not know. It's not a laughing matter, I know, but it's really troubling me so much, especially as a single woman out there. And I'm looking at it and be like, this is making us single women out there now start to question, be like, is it something that I really want to go into? Do I really want to get married? But then when I'm looking at it, yes, I want to get married. Yes, I would like to find the right person. Yes. Therefore, what are the things that I should be learning from that in such a way I do not repeat their mistakes? I just take a short left, take a short right, whichever way, and just run away from all those things. Number one, when we are looking at settling, there is this advice that someone gave to a person that I was dating a few years back, and it made me take a step back. Like, next time you give me advice, I'll take that with a grain of salt, because the person was like, just get married already. Like, everyone is the same. Just take them, put them in the house. Everything is the same, whichever way. As long as it's a woman, it's okay. And then I'm like, no. I will not just take anyone because I met them at church and just put them in the house, and then I'll expect everything will be blissful, have the same marriage, even if I had to take someone else. That culture really isn't something that I really would like. And there is this pressure that especially older people put on young people. They're always like putting pressure, like, when I get married, that person is good. When I get married already, get married already. That pressure, it gets to a point, because in the church, most of the time, whenever I'm talking about the church, I'm just talking about the people that are there. Not the ideal church, how it's supposed to be. Remember, at church we're in a hospital, so there are a lot of people who are there to get help. There are a lot of people who are there to find the great healer, and they'll be healed. And I'm praying to God that they'll be healed. And the thing is, we are saying your journey in life or your race that you have to take as a single woman, as a single young woman, is your journey for you to be in church. Your journey, you are not just looking for you to be in Christ. You're looking for marriage, and marriage is the end. And marriage is the finish line. Once you get the ring, you have ended your race. You can say, I've enjoyed the race. I have won. And once you get that trophy at the end of the aisle, after you say, I do, you are good now. Whatever comes is, you have to endure it. Whatever comes is the spoils of you getting this trophy. And whatever comes, you should endure, you should stay there, because that's where you are. So at the end of the day, it's not appropriating a culture of women now settling, because this one, when I'm looking at this one will not marry me. This one will marry me. Therefore, if this one will marry me, then he is from God. Whatever abuse that he's giving me, whatever things that he's doing to me, I'm going to enjoy it, because, hey girl, I've just got the ring. I am good. I am saved. I have run the race. I am good. Because I'm not really saying exactly that's how really people put it, but it's because of the comments that you get, especially as a single woman out there. The reason why I'm putting it out there is so that, we check ourselves, we look at the comments that we're making to other people, because the kinds of comments that we get, especially from people, then, as there was this other girl who was in the same age, we were like, you know what, are you married yet? Like, no, I'm not married yet. Like, you'll find it someday, hey? You'll find it and you'll be good like I am good right now. Look, I am now Mrs. What. You will find it someday. I pray to God that you will find it someday and you'll be good like I am good. Sort of like you're looking down on me. Like the fact that I'm not married, I'm now being shunned. The reason is when you are now looking at it, you'll be like, but you're not married, so therefore you're not worth my time. You will get there someday. Look to me and you'll be good. Once you get the ring, you're good, girl. Now, I can see all the things that you're doing there, but they're not as good as you getting married. It's like now that's the kind of comments that we're getting, especially when you get to a certain stage. Like me, it's now over 30, right? Now people look at you like, over 30 in the church and they're still not married. Maybe you're too picky. Maybe you're too what? Just get this person. People are setting you up like that person will marry you after a few days, or this person will marry you. You should get married to this person. Like sort of like people are not pressurizing me. People are like now pushing me towards other people without really looking exactly, will I be compatible with this person? Will this person be compatible with me? Will this person now look at me and be like, I found a wife, I found a great thing, and be rejoicing to God? Or will this person be like, I should have picked the other one, but hey, you're here, I'm here, let's just do it. And then you'll be like, oh, hello, they've made it to the end of the race. Now they're good. They should just enjoy each other. Stay, the rest of their life is not enough. It's just going to be enough. That culture is something that I have a problem with. That culture is something that we really need to check ourselves over. The reason is whenever we are separating, especially in church, whenever we are separating to go to our different classes, we'll be like, they are the kids. When it comes to children, we separate them according to age, right? In children, we separate them according to age. 0 to 9, how many to how many, they're separating them according to that. But once it gets to a certain stage, we now say the newly married, the unmarried, those who have been married for a little bit, and then you are all just shoved in there. I'm just being shoved in there with 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. We are not even in the same and with the kind of things that I say, the kind of what, we're not even in the same generation, mind you, and we are all supposed to learn together. We are all supposed, and the thing is, when I'm now looking at it, to be like, it's not worth it. I can't be going to that class. At the end of the day, I start to doubt, like, am I really now that old maid? So whomever comes to me, I'll just settle so that I can move, so that I'm now moved from the class of me being in that class with the 16-year-olds, the 17-year-olds. I'm now moved to the newlyweds class, or those who are married who are my age. Therefore, I can feel comfortable in church. But if I do not get that, I will either stay in that class or I'll move and totally not be there. This is something that we really need to check. This is something that we really should be asking. Why are we doing this? Because if you voice out your opinions at the end of the day, like, no, we can't be having like, okay, all right, we'll just group you together. And then you find there are like 3-5 of you in that category. And then you'll be like, okay, you learn together. Like, we're only 3. What can we be learning with only 3? But why are we being separated according to this? Because it feels like in church, the only standard is, are you married? If you say get to a certain age, is, are you married or you're not married? Not married, go other side. Married, go other side. I understand where all of this is stemming from. It's stemming from maybe like single people who seduce the people who are married. I understand that whichever way, but let's have a situation whereby it's not only the only standard. We can separate according to certain groups. We can separate according to what? Make the people feel welcome, whether they are married or they are unmarried. Make them feel welcome. Because as I was looking into this, and I really had to check myself, because of the culture where I grew up in, and I've already been looking at this as the standard, and my mind has been programmed also in that way. So I really had to check myself, like, okay, so this is how I've been looking at it. This is the kind of comments that I've been making even to other people. So I really need to check myself, because it seems like a church, the only thing that separates us is married and unmarried. Anything else, no. It doesn't matter whether, we want to do just a normal Bible study. We just want to do have a normal Bible study. Single parents go there, you have your own Bible study. Married people go there, you have your own Bible study. Single people go there, you have your own Bible study. Yes, we want people to get married, right? But is that the only thing that we can segregate people over? Is that the only thing that we can be looking into? So at the end of the day, it makes it, especially for single people now, when we're now looking at it, I end up settling, not because of what, so that I feel closer to the people that are my age, so that I become, I get friends, I get what, so that, I'm in the inner circle of those who are married. Therefore, I end up circling because, I end up, I want to be part of them. And at the end of the day, I end up, saying, I am called to be this. I am called to be this. And then if I think of leaving the situation that I'm in, maybe I've been married, maybe after getting married for some time, and then I find out that the person that I'm actually married to, we are not really compatible. At the end of the day, I feel ashamed. I feel ashamed, like, if I am to get out of this relationship, this person is cheating on me, mind you. This person is cheating on me. The Bible allows me to leave this person because this person is cheating on me. But then I do not want to feel the shame that other people are going to give me out there. I do not want to, go back, like, okay, so now I'm divorced. So I'm going to be moved from the class where I was in. I was with the married couples now. So now when it comes to church, whenever we're separating in the afternoon now, I'm going to be moved from the married couples, and now I'm going to go to the singles. It now depends on whether I have a child or not I have a child. If I have a child, now I have to be moved to the single people, right? Or I have to be moved to the single parents, or I have to be moved to the single people. And then, when I get there, it's like, okay, I do not have a child. After this, I'm being moved to the single people's table. And when I get there, it's now like 17-year-old, 18-year-old, you're looking for marriage. Now I'm divorced. I've been moved. I'm in a different season in my life than those people. And when it comes to Bible study, these are the only people that I can interact with. These are the only groups of people that I can interact with. The groups that I'm in, the Bible study that we do, the outings that we do, I can only do it with these people. I cannot do it with the other people because, these ones are married. They go together. You are not married. You're alone. You should move on to the other side. It's now segregating. At the end of the day, I will not feel welcome in that group because I met at differences in my life. I met at a different generation with those people that I'm being grouped with. At the end of the day, they're not the same mindset. At the end of the day, I end up not coming to church and people are asking me I did not feel comfortable. I did not feel what. But because we need to check ourselves. Marriage is not the only thing that is bringing people closer and people coming to church. We're here for the social aspect in church, right? Yes, we're here for the interactions that we have. There are people who are in different seasons in their life, but you do not have to segregate them only according to marriage. Maybe we can have it in such a way that this week we're going to be separated according to marriage and not marriage, but then it doesn't have to be every single week, 52 weeks in a year. It can be the next week I can be separated with the people, we are all unemployed, we're all looking for work. Next week you can be separated according to this. It makes me have an interaction with every single person in my life, In our church, I have that kind of, one-on-one session with other people. Excuse me. And I end up not resenting this because I have been in this situation in my life. I feel like I can say this because I grew up in the church. I understand how all of this works and all, but I feel like we need to ask ourselves and change our mindset. In order for change to come about, we really have to ask these questions so that a change comes about. Why? Because people are asking themselves. People are now separating from the kind of culture that they were building before, so that at the end of the day, we build the culture that is closer to Christ, and that will make people, be closer as we go. So we do not have to look at women as you have a ring or you do not have a ring. Oh, you're still running your race. You get it someday. Once you get the ring, you're good. You are called to be in that and stay there. There are some people when they get to that point and it becomes harder. We need to be able to embrace those people, be with them throughout their journey. Maybe they are being called to a divorce, or maybe they are not being called to a divorce, or whichever way we need to be with people. And whatever situation that you're in, you do not have to somehow push it down on other people, and force them to take on the journey that you took. Your journey, your life. Don't make us feel bad for the journeys that we're taking. Do not make us feel bad for who we are turning out to be. Our time, what we'll get there, we might get married, we might not get married, but then at the end of the day, don't make us feel bad and we end up cycling along the way. So if I get to a point, you do not have to be ashamed because your marriage is ending. You do not have to feel, that kind of, you need to ask yourself, maybe I need to suffer and stay in this. You do not have to, girl. There are some, you can be able to leave if you feel this is not for you. You can be able to look for outside help from other people. The church should be a kind of environment where we are accepting to all kinds, where we bring people closer together. And the thing is, I've had this being said a lot when people be like, Here you'll be asking us after marriage, hey, come and pray for me, come and pray for me. And we will not be there. Why? Because you chose for yourself. And be like, did I? Or you guys were forcing this down my throat. So at the end of the day, we need to have a culture where we're now looking at it differently, especially when it comes to young women out there. Now looking at it, like, girl, you do not have to settle for what you think so that you get the ring. You do not have to settle. You need to be able to get whatever it is that you would like. God has given us this freedom of choice, né? And if God has given us the freedom of choice, we are allowed to choose whomever. We need to be able to make the right decision. Do not be pushed or pressurized by people to make the kind of decision that you would not make on a day when you like sober-minded and all. You need to make a decision that you are happy about. If it so happens that, you take a journey where you are not going to be married, that's still okay. You do not have to be forced into it. You do not have to, people are being forced into those marriages. And at the end of the day, you are not going to be with that person sleeping next to that person who forced you. No? You're going to be with the person that they would have chosen for you. So you need to be able to take a step back and not rush into this thing because the church is pressuring you, because the people are pressuring you, because you want to have a sense of belonging with other people. You do not have to do it. So what is it that you need to do? You need to look into it and have a checklist. Have that one person that you really like. Have that blissful marriage that other people are getting. Look into it. If you can find it at 20, if you can find it at 24, you can find it at 35, you can find it at 40, you can even find it at 50. You are allowed to take all the time that you need. Take a step back. Do not be forced into it. Find the right kind of partner that will complement you. Find the right kind of partner that will push you to be the best version of yourself. Find the right kind of partner that when you build that home, when you build that house, when you build that home for those children that you're going to have someday, or the children that you're not going to have someday, whether you adopt or you not adopt, or you stay together, just the two of you, or you stay alone, just one person, you need to feel good about yourself. You need to be in a certain position where you have your own individualism in such a way that you're working for Christ, in such a way that, you are working towards your salvation, girl. You need to be working towards your salvation so that you become closer to Christ. That is the goal. Do not worry about all these things that are coming around you, all these people that are trying to pressurize you, whether you need to get married or not get into marriage. That's still okay. You can be able to stay single all your life and you still be able, have the greatest love story of your that you ever had, your own love story with Christ. Let us not look into life as just getting the ring. The race is not getting the ring. The race that you would have, get to a point where you're like, you know what? I've run the race. I've finished the race. It's all about you and Christ. Paul never got married. He ran the race and, he got to the end of the race, right? And he was proud of the race that he ran, being single on his own. It's the same thing with you. You can run your race single. You can run your race married. You can run your race with someone. You can run your race being a mother. You can run your race not being a mother. Nobody is allowed to pressure you to settle for something that you do not want. Nobody is allowed to push you into something that you will not want to have in your life. Check yourself, take a step back, and be able to have the strength to keep on going. Even if you feel this church that I'm in is, it's making me circle, it's pushing me to, you're allowed to move on, get different kinds of friends, get different, kinds of people, and you can even tell them, you know what, I do not like the way you're talking to me and always pressurizing with me. I'll do this at my own time. This is my life. I'm going to take it over in whichever way. And the other thing is, even women are always being pushed to have children, even though they are not ready to have children. Why? Because whenever we're at church, like, hi, mothers, how are you? That's the other thing. I think I've never shared this with anyone before, but let me just share it. There is, in our church, there is a women's prayer session that they have after church every single day. I've tried being part of that before, but the reason why I'm not being part of that is not because of anything. I do not, it's just the culture that we grew up in, and we, I'm not saying they are wrong, those women, because of the way they're doing. Do not get me wrong. But it's because of the culture and the mentality that we have always had. We sort of like segregate other people. Whenever they are praying, they're always praying to the mothers in here, the mothers, they're praying for their children, they're praying for what? And this is a women's event, right? And you're always saying mothers, mothers. This when you're addressing the people, you're saying mothers. When you're praying, you're praying for the mothers. But at the end of the day, I felt so out of place. The reason is I'm not a mother. I'm not, they're praying for their husbands, they're praying for what? At the end of the day, I'm not able to be part of that women's session because I'm not a mother, number one. And they're always saying it over and over. And therefore, I start to feel inadequate because I am not a mother. And therefore, I'm starting to think, like, if I'm not a mother, therefore I do not belong here. This is only for mothers. This is only for wives because they are wives. They're always praying for their husbands. They're praying for their wives. But then at the end of the day is, then where do I belong? I ask myself, like, then where do I belong? I would like to have a situation where we are just saying women, not mothers, not what, we have that community, build that community. I do not have that community anymore. And therefore, I think this is my way of, renting so that I will get that community that I'm looking for. People who are going through the same thing that I'm going through. And we can be there for each other. I understand, but then at the end of the day, when it comes to your church, I start to feel a little bit out of place. It's because everyone is forcing me now to settle because we're like, look at your age. Like, can't you see all those people out there? Can't you just get married already? I used to tell people this like before, just maybe like 5-7 years ago, people would be like, when I get married, I'm like, marriage is not in the cards for me. I'm like, no, marriage is not in the cards for me because there's like, that's where I am right now. And once I got into a relationship afterwards, people called me aside to be like, look, you're saying marriage is not in the cards for you, but look at you right now. Hey, do you have a nice guy around you? See, it was in the cards for you. And then it ended. Then back to the same story again. So at the end of the day is we need to ask ourselves, are we not propagating a culture for women to settle? Are we not making a culture for them, to push themselves to men that do not really love them for who they are, or men that just take them as trophies, or men that are we're just pushing them towards something that they're not being called to do, and we're just saying, you're being called here, you prayed for this, we prayed for this is the answer to your prayers, we're just pushing them towards that. And therefore, whenever now they are at a position of being ashamed, whenever they are in a position of, wanting to get out of that relationship, it's either they will stay because they still want to be friends with the people, who prayed for them, or they will move out of the whole situation, out of the whole church altogether. Why? Because they don't feel comfortable to be around the people. I'm like, what happened? But we prayed for this. We're like, and then the other thing, just one last thing, is we now ask ourselves. We now, we say, God is answering this prayer. This is where I'm supposed to be. Maybe because you're like, look, the church is thriving. You are making all these discussions together. You are building this ministry. Therefore, you are right to be together. Even though we know in the backside, when people are not there, we are struggling. That is not how we're supposed to be. We should not take everything in a blanket size and just say every marriage is the same. No. Take people at an individual level. We should be able to, interact with people with whatever it is that they need at that time, and help them in that situation where they are at. Help them in the situation where they are at, one by one, not just put a blanket side like every marriage here is okay. No, we cannot be able to do that. Therefore, we are now going to, saying, we make people run away from church, because people should really enjoy this marriage, because, it's a representation of what Christ is to us. We are the bride. We are the what? We are the bride. Yes, Christ is the groom, right? We need to have that relationship with God. We need to have, as a church, we need to have that relationship with Christ that will therefore be the greatest that will ever be. So therefore, whenever we are building these tiny little heavens that represent Christ, these marriages, we should make sure that they represent Christ in every single way. If so happens that this is not right, we shouldn't be pressurizing people to get into that. I feel like I've been ranting for a long time, but that's all that I had to say. The reason is this was made me take a step back and try to reevaluate how I've been feeling, and it made me reevaluate the way that we are looking at it. And the other thing that I felt to mention, that I really wanted to mention, is when it comes to the people that we put in position, especially in church, we need to ask ourselves. We need to have that mentality. Talk to these people. Know who, before we involve you, we put you in that position for you to be an elder church, for you to be a deacon. We need to understand your marriage or the way that you talk, so that you do not end up being the negative, being, the toxic thing that you are bringing towards church, being, you being so toxic to the young people out there, so as to push them aside, so as to, force them into settling or getting into marriages that they are not ready for, that they do not want in life. We really need to hold our church leaders in high esteem. If you are a church leader, you need to, the kinds of comments that you're making, the kinds of comments, the things that you're saying, they really need to be at a higher standard. Let's not just go around, taking people without really knowing their state of mind, without really knowing how they talk, how they interact with other people, and just put them in positions of power, put them in positions. And then at the end of the day, when they're now doing these things, we now wind up like, but God. No, it's not God. It's us. We're just putting this without prayer, without fasting, without asking God for guidance, and we're just putting these people in positions of power. We really need to be asking ourselves. The reason is, I have been in interaction with other people before, and I feel like they are not withholding or holding the standards that Christ is supposed to be having. These people are mistreating their spouses. These people are, we know they're mistreating their spouses. We know these people are, the kinds of comments that they make when it comes to marriages, or when it comes to women, or when it comes to men, whichever way, young people, the kinds of comments that they make, they are so degrading. The kinds of comments that they make about the spouse or the people that they're living with, they make you start to question if this person really thinks like this. Like, what is going on in their lives? And then at the end of the day, we take those kind of people and we put them in positions of power. We should really not be doing that. We really should be asking God for guidance whenever we're going for these elections, whenever we're putting people into positions of power. Really need, to check ourselves, not just be rigging these elections and be like, oh, I like you, you're my friend, we're just going to put you in that position. Or because you're my friend, you're voting for this person, I'm also going to vote. We really need to take church seriously. The kinds of people that we put in power, the kinds of people that are going to lead us, the kind of people that are going to be standing for Christ, teaching us about Christ, the kinds of comments, the kinds of things that they say, because the mouth is the most important thing that we really need to look into, because out of the what comes abundance of fish. Wow, I've forgotten. It says what did he says? Nothing that enters the mouth, it defileth, right? That's what Christ said. But then out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. I hope I'm quoting it right. I hope I'm quoting it right. If not, I really need to go back and read again. But the things, we should really be careful about what people say. The things that people say, those are the things that are coming from their heart. The things that they're saying to their wives, the things that are degrading, that are saying to their husbands out there, that's who they are on the inside that we cannot see. We really need to take those things seriously, so that at the end of the day, when we're now putting people in power, putting people as women's ministries leaders, these women, what are the things that they're saying about their marriage? What are the things that they're saying about their spouses? What are the things that they're saying about the youth? What are the things that they're saying about their children? What are the things that they're saying about their neighbors? What are the things that they're saying about every kind of stranger that they are meeting in their lives? And then from there, we can be able to put you into position of power. You can be able to lead us because we have seen the integrity that is in you. We have seen who you are. Therefore, we believe that you can be the greatest person that can lead us. Therefore, and we're praying, we're also taking that into effect because other people, we know the kind of, I wanted to say, but what the kind of things that they say. And we put question marks on the things that they say. But then when it comes to position of power, because they look good, because they drive a nice car, because they look good when they come to church, whenever I'm telling people this is our women's ministries leader, therefore, people be like, yes. I'm not going to put that person who's lowly and I feel like they're poor and other people will not look at them nicely. Therefore, but the things that they say are really, they have the wisdom that I'm looking for. I'm just going to put that so that, I have some kind of favors. We really shouldn't be looking at God's work in that way. We really should be taking a step back and asking ourselves, are they the best people that we should really be putting in power? Because they need to be held at a higher standard, people. The people that hold positions need to be held at a higher standard. Therefore, our church, that way we grow and people will be happy. So that's all that I had for you today. I know I had a lot to say. I still have a lot to say, but we'll see each other next week. And I hope that you like, subscribe, and share it with other people that you think will benefit from all this. And we have a conversation. We ask ourselves, we hold ourselves accountable for the kinds of comments that we make. We hold ourselves accountable for the kind of thinking that we do, so that at the end of the day, we grow and be more like Christ. That's all that I had for you to say. Goodbye.